The mind is like a garden. What you choose to nurture and allow to grow will shape your reality. Imagine planting seeds of negativity, doubt, and fear in your mental garden instead of flourishing flowers of peace, clarity, and strength. Over time, the weeds begin to take root, creeping into your thoughts, relationships, and actions. Before you know it, your mental landscape is overrun, and you're left wondering how things got so out of hand. But what if 2025 could be the year you take back your peace? What if it's the year you learn to release the beliefs, habits, and distractions that quietly weigh you down? That's exactly what we're going to explore together today. In this guide, we'll take a deep dive into 11 things you should quietly eliminate from your life. Small shifts that can have a massive impact on your mental clarity, emotional resilience, and overall well-being. Whether it's letting go of comparison, overcoming perfectionism, or learning how to silence anger, these Stoic principles will help you build a mind that is calm, focused, and unshaken by the chaos around you. This isn't about achieving overnight change or trying to be perfect. Instead, it's about making steady, intentional progress. The Stoics believed that the mastery of the mind comes from daily practice, small decisions, and the courage to let go of what no longer serves us. Every step forward, however small, brings you closer to a life that is grounded in peace and purpose. So, if you're ready to lighten your load, clear the mental clutter, and build a life of intention and clarity, you're in the right place. Let's dive into these 11 things you should quietly eliminate from your life. One step at a time. Your future self will thank you for starting today. 1. The need for external validation. Have you ever found yourself replaying a conversation in your mind, endlessly trying to explain yourself to someone who hurt you? Perhaps you felt misunderstood, judged unfairly, or blamed for something that wasn't your fault. You may have hoped that if you just explained it better, they would finally see your side. But no matter how much you try, the truth is that some people will never hear you, understand you, or validate your feelings. And here's the hard truth: that's okay. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus teaches us a vital lesson. We can only control what is within our power, our thoughts, our actions, and our responses. Everything outside of that, including how others perceive or treat us, is beyond our control. So when you find yourself trying to justify your actions or pain to someone who isn't listening, you're giving away your peace, your mental energy, and your time. By seeking validation from those who don't see your worth or refuse to understand your pain, you allow their perceptions to hold power over your well-being. This cycle of seeking approval from others, especially those who hurt you, only traps you in frustration and emotional turmoil. Stoicism teaches us to let go of the need to be understood, particularly by people who bring us harm. Instead of chasing after someone's approval, turn inward and ask yourself, am I acting in line with my values? Am I staying true to myself? If the answer is yes, then that's all the validation you need. Let go of the need to explain yourself to those who have already shown they won't understand. Your worth is not defined by their opinions. 2. The fear of change is one of the few constants in life, yet we often resist it. The fear of the unknown, the discomfort of uncertainty, and the anxiety of what might happen can paralyze us. Stoic philosophy encourages us to embrace change, not as something to fear, but as an inevitable part of life that we must accept with grace and resilience. The Stoics understood that it's not change itself that causes suffering, but our resistance to it. When we let go of our attachment to things staying the same, we open ourselves to new possibilities, growth, and greater wisdom. Fear often arises from the belief that change will bring harm, but in truth, it's our resistance to it that causes the most pain. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, reminds us that The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately. We cannot control the future, but we can control how we react to it. Rather than resisting change, we should view it as an opportunity to grow, learn, and evolve. By quietly eliminating the fear of change from our lives, we free ourselves from mental paralysis and embrace the flow of life. When we are no longer afraid to change, we make space for transformation, whether it's in our careers, relationships, or personal growth. 3. The need to be perfect. Perfectionism is a silent enemy, robbing us of peace and contentment. We often set impossible standards for ourselves, believing that if we are perfect, we will be loved, respected, or successful. But the truth is, perfection is an illusion. There is no such thing as perfection, and the pursuit of it only leads to stress, frustration, and self-criticism. Stoicism teaches us to focus on progress rather than perfection. As Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, put it, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Perfection is not the goal. Consistent, deliberate effort in line with our values is. We should strive to improve, not to attain flawlessness. This is what brings true growth and fulfillment. By eliminating the need to be perfect, we give ourselves permission to make mistakes, to learn from them, and to move forward with grace. Perfection is the enemy of progress, and by letting go of it, we open ourselves to a life of continuous improvement and authentic success. The desire for control. If you've ever found yourself getting frustrated over things you can't control, whether it's someone else's behavior, a situation at work, or a global event, you're not alone. We all want to feel in control of our lives, but the truth is, there's very little we can truly control. Our actions, thoughts, and attitudes are within our control, but the external world is not. The Stoic philosophers, particularly Epictetus, teach us that it's not the external events that disturb us, but our reactions to them. When we desire control over things beyond our reach, we set ourselves up for disappointment and frustration. Letting go of the desire to control the uncontrollable is a key Stoic practice. Rather than focusing on what you can't control, shift your energy to what you can influence. Focus on mastering your responses, your attitude, and your actions. When you release the need to control everything around you, you regain your peace and mental clarity. 5. The fear of disapproval. We all have a natural desire to be liked, to fit in, and to be accepted by others. But when we let the fear of disapproval dictate our decisions, we hand over the reins of our lives to others. We may say yes when we want to say no, silence our true thoughts to avoid conflict, or follow a path that doesn't align with our values, all because we fear the judgment of others. The Stoic philosophers warn us against seeking approval from those outside of ourselves. Our worth is not determined by the opinions of others. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When we live in constant fear of being judged, we allow others to shape our self-worth and our choices. This fear becomes a barrier to authentic living. Instead, Stoicism teaches us to act according to our values, regardless of others' opinions. When we stop fearing disapproval, we free ourselves to be who we truly are. We can act with integrity, make choices that align with our purpose, and live without the constant burden of seeking approval. This shift allows us to step into our own power and find peace in our decisions, knowing they reflect our true self. 6. Toxic relationships. In life, there will always be people who challenge us, criticize us, or bring negativity into our world. Some may even hold us back or drag us down with their toxic behaviors. Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot control how others behave, we can choose the relationships we invest in. Toxic relationships drain our energy, foster negativity, and prevent us from reaching our full potential. Rather than clinging to relationships that no longer serve us or that cause us harm, we are encouraged to assess the impact of those relationships on our well-being. If a relationship is full of drama, negativity, or emotional manipulation, it's time to let it go. Stoicism teaches us the value of surrounding ourselves with people who support our growth, who encourage us to be our best selves, and who share in our values. We should eliminate relationships that drag us down, for they can hinder our mental peace and growth. This doesn't mean we should abandon people in need or neglect our duty to be compassionate. But it does mean that we must draw boundaries to protect our mental health and well-being. By letting go of toxic relationships, we create space for healthier connections that elevate our lives, contribute to our happiness, and foster mutual respect. 7. The need to always be busy. In today's fast-paced, Seneca, in his letters, spoke about how the busy life can actually be a form of avoidance, a distraction from deeper reflection and personal growth. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it, he wrote. In our pursuit of constant activity, we often forget to pause, reflect, and cultivate what truly matters. By eliminating the need to always be busy, we can focus on doing things that are meaningful and in alignment with our values. Stoicism encourages us to balance action with contemplation, effort with rest, and activity with stillness. It's about choosing quality over quantity. You don't need to fill your schedule to feel productive. Focus on what truly serves your purpose. 8. Negative self-talk. How often do you criticize yourself? Do you find yourself doubting your abilities or constantly comparing yourself to others? Negative self-talk is one of the most insidious ways we rob ourselves of peace and progress. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that we're not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough. The Stoics understood the importance of mastering the mind, and part of that mastery involves eliminating negative self-talk. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminds us that our thoughts are the seeds of our reality. If we plant seeds of doubt and negativity, we will reap a harvest of insecurity and self-sabotage. To break this pattern, we must start by recognizing when negative self-talk arises and challenge its validity. Ask yourself, are these thoughts true? Do they serve me? More often than not, the answers will be no. By changing our inner dialogue, we can cultivate a more empowering narrative, one that focuses on our strengths, capabilities, and progress. Instead of doubting, we affirm our ability to grow, to improve, and to succeed. 9. The need for perfection in others. We often expect others to meet our standards or act according to our ideals. We place unrealistic expectations on our partners, friends, colleagues, and even family members, hoping they will behave in ways that align with our desires. But this desire for perfection in others only leads to frustration, disappointment, and unnecessary conflict. Stoicism teaches us to accept others as they are, not as we wish them to be. We cannot control how others act or think, and attempting to do so only leads to suffering. Epictetus advises us to focus on our own actions and reactions rather than trying to change those around us. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By letting go of the need for perfection in others, we free ourselves from constant frustration. We learn to appreciate people for who they are, recognizing that they too are human and imperfect. This acceptance allows us to focus on improving ourselves and cultivating deeper, more meaningful relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. 10. The illusion of control over time. Time is one of the most precious resources we have, yet it often feels like there's never enough of it. We constantly chase after more time, trying to control it, organize it, and manage it in ways that fit our desires. But time is an uncontrollable force. It passes regardless of what we do, and the more we try to control it, the more anxious we become. Stoicism teaches us that we must accept the passing of time with grace and mindfulness. We cannot control how time flows, but we can control how we use it. Instead of worrying about how much time we have left, we should focus on how we use the time that is given to us. Seneca famously said, "It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Rather than obsessing over time's limitations, we should focus on making each moment count. By eliminating the illusion of control over time, we can start living more intentionally, choosing how we spend our time wisely and aligning our actions with our deeper purpose. 11. The fear of not being enough. Many of us live with an underlying fear that we are not enough, that we're too flawed, too weak, or too imperfect to live up to our potential. This fear holds us back from pursuing our goals, taking risks, or being authentic. But Stoic philosophy teaches us that we are enough as we are. The fear of not being enough often stems from comparing ourselves to others or holding ourselves to impossible standards. But this comparison is futile. We are each on our own unique path, and our worth is not determined by how we... Conclusion: the path forward. As you begin to eliminate these 11 things from your life, one quiet step at a time, you will create space for growth, clarity, and peace. Remember, this is not about achieving perfection, but about making small, intentional shifts that lead to a more purposeful and resilient life. The Stoics believed that the path to wisdom is paved with discipline, patience, and the courage to release what no longer serves us. By letting go of external validation, the fear of change, toxic relationships, perfectionism, and more, you will be freeing your mind from unnecessary burdens. In doing so, you make room for what truly matters, living a life aligned with your values, making meaningful connections, and embracing the flow of life with grace and resilience. The road to mastery of the mind is a lifelong journey, but every small decision, every shift in perspective, brings you closer to the life you truly deserve. So take a moment today to reflect. What can you eliminate from your life to create more space for